Hello everyone and welcome to Formula 1. Yes, in September of this year I will have been on YouTube for 5 years, so I thought it was about time that I introduced the next generation of gamers to the games that we played back in the day. And that game of course is Formula 1, released in September of 1996 and featuring the 1995 World Championship season. Here is the opening titles. Wow, that was so much better than all the crap they come out with these days, wasn't it? Hello Codemasters, how are you? Good. So here it is then, made by Psygnosis, developed by Bizarre Creations. This is Formula 1. So let's go back and see what all the fuss was about. I just love the loading screen where you've got the little revolving CD. Of course, back in the day, CDs and DVDs were the only way you could play video games. Yes, the only way. Nowadays it's all bloody downloads, but then it was your precious CD and DVDs. And oh my goodness, if you got a tiny little scratch on them, it was the end of civilization as we knew it. Anyway, so here we are. Here's the game select screen. We've got 1 player, 2 player, quick race, resume, or options. We're going for a 1 player. We're going for a Grand Prix. In fact, we're going for a full Grand Prix season. Not all in this video, of course, but we are going for a full championship. Let's have a look at the car setup and the race setup screens before we continue. As you can see, it's all there. It's all there. And look at this, adjustable race lengths. Now that is what we need in the modern Formula 1 games, instead of just 25%, 50% and full race distance. You could select a 5% total distance. Look at that, absolute, right up to 100%. So you could tailor it exactly to how much time you wanted to spend. Of course, once you've selected that length, it does remain with you for the whole season. It's not adjustable, but just having that on there is absolutely brilliant. So there you go. We're going into the Grand Prix mode. We've got dry weather because unfortunately in this game, if it rains, it just rains for the whole race. It doesn't actually vary the weather, even though it says it does. Yeah, we're going to go with automatic gears. Now, I am, of course, using the PlayStation pad, and I'm using the D-pad as well because there's no analog controls for this game. And I haven't played this game for quite a while. So you've got it all there. You can adjust the downforce and the fuel levels as well. So on to the championship we go. And we're going to go for medium, I think, because I haven't played this for ages. Now, of course, the difficulty level really doesn't matter in this game, and you'll find out when you see the opponent level of the other cars. Yes, otherwise known as they're slightly derpy. Yes, in fact, very derpy. So here we go then. And who are we going to drive for? Well, you just know who we're going to drive for. Yes, that's right. No, it's not Michael Schumacher. Although we have got the Benetton Renault team, of course, in 1995. No, we're going to go to Williams. And we're going to drive as David Twat Coulthard. Yes, it's time to bring him back. Of course, sadly, he won't be seen on our television screens anymore because Channel 4 have now lost the coverage to Formula 1. So it's just going to be highlights from Bloody Sky. Blah, blah, blah. So we're going to bring back David Coulthard and go straight into qualify. The first round of the championship, which is in Brazil, in Interlagos. Yes, that was the first round in the 1995 season. So here we go with another loading screen. I'm doing this all, I'm doing the commentary, post-commentary, but I haven't edited any of this out because I wanted you to experience exactly what happens when you first start playing this game. So there's going to be lots of long pauses while the game loads up. Of course, this is now reading off the CD. Yes, CD for the original PlayStation. And of course, as we know, the CD, even though it ran at 52 times speed, was still very, very bloody slow. So on to the qualifying session at Interlagos. This is round 1 of 17. And let's see how we do. Now, I don't know if many people know this about this game, but it's absolutely riddled with bugs. Yes, unfortunately, it's got millions and millions and millions of bugs. Now, what I always do for qualifying, because when you first go out and you set a time and it tells you in the bottom left where you are in the qualifying, that will actually stay with you for the race. Yes, it doesn't matter if other cars have overtaken your time or whatever. Whatever time you qualify in is the time, is the actual grid placing that you will get in the race. So we're going to put a little bit of fuel in, a little smidge of fuel, and I think I may actually refresh my tyres, even though we've only lost 1% on our slicks. So we're going to refresh our tyres as well. This, of course, is the pit stop menu, which is horribly, horribly antiquated now. It's very, very difficult when you're in there trying to negotiate the settings to get it done as quick as possible, of course. Now, in the follow-up to this F197, they simplified it magnificently and you just had to have a few button presses. In fact, I think it was completely automatic when you came in, didn't it? I think it was. Anyway, we will carry on and go out for our first qualifying run. And there you are, everyone. These are the graphics from 1995 on the original PlayStation, of course. Yes, there's a lot of tearing going on, a lot of jagged edges, of course, as the PlayStation was struggling to complete your game in 3D, which of course this was a 3D game, but it's doing very, very well for such an aging console, as you can see. And this, of course, is the Brazilian circuit, which is represented really, really well. Oh, Jesus Christ, and already Coulthard, like many times in 1995, has gone off. Yes. In fact, Mr. Twat Coulthard spent most of his time going off and not a lot of time actually driving the bloody car. Anyway, that's another story. Let's see what time we can put in then as we're about to cross the line. And of course, when you start the qualifying, you automatically start your hot lap time. Yes, that's another thing that is strange about this game. But anyway, Damon Hill is currently in the lead with a 1:24, and of course he is our teammate. We are going to cross the line, and it's going to be it's a 2 minute and 3 second time, which puts us in 26. Yes, that's right. There are 26 cars on the grid in 1995. I know, it seems incredible, doesn't it? We've only 20 cars now for so many years, that there was actually 26. In fact, in some of the earlier seasons, there was up to 35 cars, 36 cars sometimes. Actually, they had to do pre-qualifying, where the slowest cars actually had to drop out, and they didn't qualify for the race. Those were the days, as David Twat Coulthard once again goes a little bit wide. But let's see if he can improve on his time of 2 minutes and 3 seconds and last place. Yes, last place. So here are the beautiful graphics on offer for this game. Now, unfortunately, this is using the PlayStation's low resolution mode. Yes, it had two modes. It had a high res mode and a low res mode. If you remember a lot of the early games on PlayStation, because they hadn't sort of got to grips with the console very well, they actually used the low resolution mode, and this game uses that low resolution mode. The follow-up F197 actually used the high resolution mode, just to let you know. But we crossed the line now for 129.145, and that puts us in 16th position, which is sort of just behind the middle of the field. And I think I may go around again and see if I can just make a little bit of a faster time or not. But it really doesn't matter, as I say, because that will now be our starting position for the race. Damon Hill, of course, in 1995 was trying to win the championship, but unfortunately it didn't quite work out for him because of the almightiness, or should I say cheating. Yeah, we'll say cheating. The cheating of the Benetton team, who actually won the championship with Michael Schumacher in 1995, and Damon Hill missed out. But of course he came back the following year in 1996 and actually won the championship in the Williams, beating Michael Schumacher, of course, who then went on to Ferrari for 1996 in a rather heavy and underdeveloped car. But he did well in it, but of course it wasn't enough to secure the championship, despite quite a few mistakes from Damon Hill in the championship. Yes, he made quite a few tactical errors, and it went right to the line, or should I say up until Japan, before he did win the championship. And of course that was the time when Murray Walker did the famous line of, "And now I've got to stop because I've got a lump in my throat," as Damon Hill crossed the line and won the championship in 1996, and of course the only time that Damon won the World Championship. Because in 1997, of course, he then went and signed for Arrows. Yes, that's right, everyone. Arrows. What a cock. Oh dear. Anyway, so we're just going around now on some more qualifying sessions, seeing if we can just improve on our time. At the moment, Hill's got a 1:03. Well, that's only a one sector time, actually. Nobody could put a total time in of 1 minute and 3 seconds. Goodness gracious me. Goodness gracious me. So here it is, as I say, Formula 1 on PlayStation. September 1996 this was released, yes. And straight after making this game, they were straight on to the next one, Formula 1 97, so they had a very, very short window as we try and go past one of the Jordans. Yes, look at the livery on that Jordan in 1995. Look, oh my goodness, it was absolutely fantastic. Or gross, whichever your preference is. So let's see if we can improve our qualifying time now. I think this is going to be my last attempt to try and get a good time in for Mr. David Twat Coulthard. And we're going to cross the line now. No, in fact, we're going to come into the pits. Yes, we're going to come into the pits. Now, what you do now is you now put your fuel in for the start of the race. Because if you don't do that, if you've only put like 4 laps of fuel in, you will start the race with only 4 laps of fuel. And you'll have to come in pretty bloody sharply. So we're going to put about 3/4 of our fuel in, which should get us sort of about the halfway distance into the race. This is a 25% race, which is basically, I think, about 12 laps. It's very, very difficult because it doesn't tell you actually in this game how many laps there are, which is a little bit confusing. The only information you get is, oh, it's time for Murray. So there was Murray Walker, and here is the race. Yes, the 5 lights go out, and it's time to say go, 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 and away we go from 16th position on the grid. Oh my goodness, this feels so good. It really does feel so good. Now you go, oh, there's contact though. Contact with one of the Saubers, I do believe. There's, oh, now of course the damage in this game is percentage based. So you don't actually see any visible damage. But all the time you hit someone, then damage is occurring to your car. And eventually your wing will just fall off. Or your rear wing will fall off or something like that. But you don't actually see any sort of damage until it actually happens. Whereas in F1, oh, and David Twat Coulthard has spun around. This was what I was saying about his 1995 season, when he spent most of the time spinning round in his races. Anyway, so he's made a few positions and now he's back to 16th place again. As you can see, the car in front, that Sauber's completely lost his rear wing. Of course, you could do damage to the other cars and trying to... Oh, and he's gone round again. I don't believe it. That was a very, very bad move from David Twat Coulthard there. And he's now down to 24th position, I do believe, and stuck behind some of the back markers. And one of those back markers is that yellow car, which is a faulty Ford. Yes, everyone, a faulty Ford. Yes, they didn't actually make the 1997 season. No, they ran out because they had no money left. Oh, and there's more contact. Now, of course, the cars do slow down horribly when you go into the corners. You have to be very, very careful indeed, as we're just going past a few more back markers. And as you can see, they're basically all over the bloody place. Yes, there's cars going into the pits. There's cars weaving about. I mean, if it was today, they'd all get... Oh, Jesus, no. That's it. The front wing has now gone on David Twat Coulthard's car. Yes. So he's going to have to pit. Now, of course, the effect of having the wing off, it's very, very slight, I have to say, but it does create a little bit of understeer and oversteer into the car as you're trying to steer it, or should I say trying to steer it. Of course, I'm using the D-pad to go left and right because there's no analog, and you have to basically punch the D-pad when you've got no wing, otherwise you would just spin out the car. But I say it's not too bad. It's, you know, it's a very, very sort of subtle effect of having no wing. As David Coulthard, or should I say David Twat Coulthard, get it right, has gone into another car, but he's having trouble with the car, of course, because he's got no front wing. Let's see if we can go into the pits now. And now, of course, the advantage of having no front wing is you can plough into the cars in front, because it makes absolutely no difference, because you don't actually get any more damage than losing the wing. Yeah, you don't lose any damage to the nose cone or anything like that, which of course was improved for the follow-up game next year in 1997. Anyway, it's time for us to make our pit stop now. Damon Hill is currently in the lead, and the question is, are we going to end up with any points in this race? Well, we're just about to find out as he makes more contact. So in we come for our pit stop. Very, very tight and twisty stop in the Brazil circuit. We're currently in 14th position. Well, we just passed a couple of cars, but as you can see, we're now gradually dropping down the field, down to 19th. So the front wing has to be repaired. We have to do all this manually by just going left and right with the D-pad. And so we're going to put a little bit more fuel in the car. Now, I don't know whether that's going to last to the end of the race. I don't think it will, because I think the tyres will wear out before we get to the end. As you can see, it's a tortuously long pit stop. 22.6 seconds. There's another car in as well, and he's lost his rear wing. I don't think that was David Twat Coulthard, but it may have been. Anyway, we rejoin now in 25th position. Yes, that's right. 25th position. Oh my goodness. But can we catch up to the cars in front? Well, the answer to that is yes, we can, because the AI are basically a little bit stupid. Yes, a little bit stupid. I know we're only on the medium level, but as I say, it doesn't really matter even on hard, because you do manage to catch them up eventually. I just wanted to make sure I could sort of end up with quite a good position at the end of the race, if I can, of course. I may end up in 25th place, I don't know. I think I'm about 2 minutes behind the leader, but in this game, as I say, it doesn't really matter, because you can make huge inroads into the cars in front, because of course this was based more on arcade fun really than actual simulation, it has to be said. Yes, it was more to do with fun, definitely, as we're just about to catch up already, as you can see, to the back of a 44, which is one of the back markers, as I said earlier. So it really doesn't take long to catch up to the rest of the field, so we should manage to catch up and get past. Yes, we do. So we should be up one position now, and we got more back. Yes, 24th now, and there's one car going in. There's a 44 just going past on the left hand side, and we're now up into 22nd position already, and I do believe this is the third lap, but as I say, it doesn't actually tell you. You just get the information at the bottom of the screen now and again, which tells you what lap it is. Oh, we ploughed straight to the back of one of the other. I think that's the MTV. Which car was that? There was one with an MTV livery on it, but I can't remember which one that was. It's so long ago now, so long ago. Those, I do believe, are Ligiers. I think they were Ligiers. The blue livery. Anyway, we're up into 20th position now. Wowzers. 20th place already in our Williams. So our next target is another, of course, back marker. Now the cars do come into the pits, but unfortunately not on all 17 rounds. If you put it at 25% race distance, you will find that in some of the races they never come into the pits. And in some of the races they basically pit every other lap. Yes, that's one of the things I said is wrong with this game, because there are thousands and thousands, no, hang on, maybe tens of thousands of bugs in this game. Yes, so it is basically just something you can have some fun with. You really shouldn't take it too seriously. And if you ever think you're going to win the Constructors' Championship in this game, you've got another thing coming, because once your teammate is with you, things seem to go rapidly wrong, and he seems to either come in every single lap or something else happens, and the chances of winning the Constructors' Championship is basically zero, as we're just about now to go into 17th position now. 17th position. I do believe it's lap 4. We're now 1 minute and 20 seconds behind the leader, which of course is Damon Hill, as we go past another one of the back markers. I'm up into 16th place now, so David Coulthard has managed to gain all the positions that he's lost, and pitted as well, and he's still fighting away like crazy with the back markers. And I would also like to say that this game is running in upscaled 1080p from a PlayStation 3, and it's in the correct aspect ratio as well, hence the very, very large black borders around the outside. But if you were playing this on a PlayStation Classic, then this is how it would appear on your high definition television, if they haven't got the option enabled for widescreen, of course. But then it would stretch out the picture and would look horrible, horrible. This is how it was meant to be played, of course, on a CRT television, the old big box TVs, not of course a HD TV, and that's why there are the enormous black borders all the way around. But I wanted to keep it as pure as possible for this video. I was just about to pass one of the, oh Jesus Christ, we almost passed one of the Saubers. We're up into 15th place now. David Coulthard is doing very, very well in this game, as you can see. As we cross the line, we still got, oh, it's Carl Wendlinger in front of us. Sadly, he died in 1994 during that very tragic World Championship year, along with Ayrton Senna as well, of course. Anyway, so we're just about to pass Carl Wendlinger, and Damon Hill is now on lap 6, just completed lap 6, and he's just on our fastest lap, in fact, with a 1:26.136. Wowzers, absolute wowzers. So up into 14th place now for David Coulthard, but unfortunately I don't think the tyres are going to last a full race distance. I think we're on about 12 or 13 laps. I'm not quite sure what a 25% race distance is. As I said earlier, it doesn't actually tell you. Now, of course, in the background you can hear the dulcet tones of the greatest Formula 1 commentator in the world ever. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mr. Murray Walker himself, who appeared for the very, very first time in a computer game, and this was the one he appeared in, Formula 1, released of course in 1996. And I have to say, he just adds so much to this game, so much, he really does. Yes, of course, the commentary gets repeated very, very often, but it's just brilliant to hear Murray. And of course, he has gone into legendary status now, and there are lots of actual videos where they just include all these Murray clips into one big huge video, and it's very, very funny indeed to watch. But of course, there wasn't much audio of Murray in this version. There's a slightly bit more commentary in the F1 97, of course, because he was joined by Martin Brundle, who didn't used to say a lot. He just used to sit there and say, "You're right there, Murray." But yes, there you go. And of course, the follow-up game, F1 97, was actually used in one of the real Grand Prix races by ITV, yes, in their broadcast coverage. It was a few months before the game was about to be released, and they did a track guide with Martin Brundle, and they actually used F1 97 as the track guide. It was really, really impressive, I have to say. And probably the first and only time I've ever actually seen an actual computer game being used in a real F1 race. So, David Coulthard is now up into 11th position in, of course, the all-conquering Williams of 1995. Well, it wasn't all-conquering because, of course, they were beaten by the Benettons, but it was a very, very good car indeed. As we're just about to pass Oliver's Penis now, and we're up into 10th position. But, of course, in modern days, that would be points. But, of course, in 1995, that was no points because you only scored points for the top 6 places. Yes, and that's how it should have stayed. That's what I say. That's how it should have stayed. They give these youngsters too many points these days. Too many points. What happened to fighting for World Championship points is what I say. Anyway, enough of this. We're just about to pass a Benetton now. No, not a Benetton. It's a Jordan. Oh my goodness. I got confused with the colours for a moment. Yes, of course, it's another of the Eddie Jordan. Oh, Jesus Christ. He doesn't want to be passed. Okay, the Jordan doesn't want to be passed. I can't remember the drivers from 1995, I have to say. I should have looked up before, but I bloody well didn't. Anyway, David Twat Coulthard is now up into single figures, up into 9th position. We have the other Jordan in front of us. Just look at the livery on that Jordan. Oh my goodness. Some would say it's beautiful. Others would say it looks horrible. Absolutely horrible. But you can certainly see the Irish connection with all the green in the rear canopy there, as you can see. Yes, Eddie Jordan did like his Irish sponsors. But we managed to get past him now, up into 8th position now, just 2 positions away from some World Championship points. So can we do it before the end of this Grand Prix? Can we actually get into the points for David Twat Coulthard? Well, we'll find out as we're just about to cross the line and start the next lap. Gerhard Berger, oh my goodness, is currently in 1st place. Or as Benjamin Daly would like to say, Gerhard Berger. Yeah, he's changed his nationality now. Yes, he works for ISIS, he does. Yes, does Gerhard Berger. Oh my god. Did he actually say that? Yes, he did. He also said Gina Lacey as well. Yes. Oh, well done, Benjamin. Well done indeed. Anyway, our next target is Mark Blundell, who's currently in 7th position. And he's 8 seconds up the road. Of course, we're going to gain all these places, but we're going to lose them again a little bit later, I do believe, because I can't see that the tyres are going to last to the end of the Grand Prix. And as you can see, those tyres that I mentioned are Goodyear tyres. Of course, Goodyear were a tyre supplier in 1995. But there, of course, is the car we're trying to get past. It is Blundell. And, of course, the McLaren. Yes, the red and white livery of the McLaren. And I have to say, I just get dismayed that they changed that livery, because they should have kept it, because that was the classic McLaren look. And I do honestly believe they've gone downhill since they changed that livery. We're trying to get past Mark Blundell. There's another McLaren going to the pits there, as you can see off to the left. And I actually thought both of them were going in there, but the other one thought better of it. So we are going to get into 7th place now, just 1 position behind the World Championship points. I think that is still Mark Blundell, of course, in that McLaren. Now, of course, the story about McLaren was that Nigel Mansell was going to drive for them, but because, of course, he had a little bit of problems trying to get into the car, because he was a little bit too big for the car as we just about to go past. Are we going to get into the points now? Are we going to get into the points? Oh my goodness gracious bloody good God. Yes, we are. Up into 6th position now for David Coulthard. Yes, of course, Nigel Mansell was due to drive that car, but unfortunately he was a little bit too big for it. Yes, because he'd been doing IndyCar, he bulked out all his shoulder mass and what have you, and he just physically couldn't get into the car. Well, that's what he likes to say anyway. I think basically he just got too big and fat. Anyway, our next target now is a Ferrari. I have no idea who it is, but it is a Ferrari. Of course, the Ferrari from 1995 was a very, very heavy, awkward car. Very, very heavy indeed. Of course, it had the V12 engine in it, but it just both the drivers, John Lacey and Gerhard Berger, both complained about how awkward and heavy this car was to drive. I can't remember how well they did in the championship, but I think it was pretty average. There's another car go to the pits. You see, the AI seem to swing all over the place. They don't seem to take a racing line at all, unlike F1 97 when they actually reversed that, and the cars seem to stick rigidly to the racing line, but in this game they didn't. And as I say it, oh my goodness, I don't believe it. We just managed to get past the Ferrari, and I think we're up into a podium position. I think we are. It should tell us in a minute, as Damon Hill has put in a fastest lap. As I said earlier, yes. Oh, Jesus, we're in 2nd place now. 2nd place for David Twat Coulthard. Fantastic. Anyway, as I said earlier, because I do like to go off track quite a few times and forget what I was talking about, Goodyear tyres, of course, were the tyres of choice for 1995. Now, you can see from the tyres that there's no actual tyre wear. You can't see any sort of wear on the tyres whatsoever, and the only indication you get the tyres are worn is where you start to spin out. Yes, and that tells you that your tyres have reached the end of the cliff and it's time to come in for some. And we're going to pass some back markers here. I think that's the Ligier. Yes, the red and white is Ligier, and of course in front of him there is the 40 Ford, and they are the slowest cars on the grid as he tries to take us out. And Johnny Herbert, of course, in the Benetton, is currently in the lead of this race, and we are 38 seconds behind as that Ligier pulls into the pits. You can definitely see what I said earlier about the AI pitting pretty much constantly. Yes, not just a couple of times. Sometimes the AI pit at least 12 times during a 25% race, because as I said, there are a lot of bugs in this game, but you can forgive them. It was their first F1 game for Bizarre Creations, so you know there was inevitably going to be a few things to iron out, and of course they did improve massively with F1. Oh, and there we go, there's the confirmation. There is the tyre wear now come into effect, which means we've got to come into the pits again. We're down to 4th position now. Yes, 4th place. And we're going to have to come in. We've done 11 laps so far, so I think, well, I hope there's going to be more than 11 laps. Otherwise, we're not going to finish with any points whatsoever, because we're down to 5th place now, and David Coulthard has spun it again. This, of course, is not David's fault. This is because there is tyre wear. Yes, tyre wear. Now, of course, in F1 97, you got the pit engineer going, "Pit in, your tyres are worn, pit in now, pit in." Oh, but of course in this game there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing at all, and this was the only indication that your tyres were worn out. It's when you just kept spinning the car like a noob. Yes, like an absolute noob. So we're down to 6th place now. We've got to come into the pits and change our tyres. Oh Jesus, no. We've completely blown that, haven't we? And as we get overtaken by the car in front, which I do believe, is it a Sauber? I can't quite remember. Is it a Sauber? It may be a Sauber. Anyway, we're coming to the pits now, just behind this Sauber. Currently in 6th position. 6th position. Time for our pit stop as we plough straight into the back of the Sauber, as you can see. So there's no pit crew in this game. No pit crew. This was way too early for any pit crews. In fact, there wasn't a pit crew in 97 either. So now you've got to frantically move the D-pad from left to right to make sure that everything's going in. We're going to put some fuel in. Not a lot, because we haven't got many laps to go, I don't think. But basically, you've just got to sit here now and wait for the grease monkeys to finish working on your car, and then you can rejoin. We're currently in 12th. Oh, there's more cars coming in now. Ferrari's just coming ahead of us. We're in 12th position. Oh, look at all the cars though coming, but they're all back markers, I do believe. So yes, we're going to rejoin now in 12th position. With finally on screen we get confirmation. We got 5 laps still to go of this Grand Prix. So that's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. The 17 lap race. As you can see, my maths is excellent and on point as it always is. So we've got 17 laps in this race, and Johnny Herbert is currently in the lead after 13 laps, of course, in the all-conquering Benetton from 1995. So in these last remaining laps, are we going to get into the points? Currently in 12th position for David Twat Coulthard. Well, we will find out. Now, as you can see on the track surface, there's a lot of polygon tear in there. Very, very bad indeed. This actually did transfer, of course, to F1 97 as well, even though it was using the high resolution mode of the original PlayStation. But there was an option where you could actually try and smooth that out a little bit. It was actually in the options menu of F1 97. And I don't think it worked that well, to be honest. And I actually preferred it as is, because it sort of made the track look a little bit blurry, I have to say. So yeah, I just left it as it was, because it was all part of the nostalgia. And there's Taki Inoue. Taki Inoue, the greatest F1 driver in the history of the world ever. And we go past him. And now we're going past number 1 of the Jordans once again. So we're up into 10th position already, with just 4 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Yes, 4 laps to go for David Twat Coulthard. We got Alesi in 2nd. We got Blundell in 3rd. Frentzen, Heinz-Harald Frentzen in 4th position. That was a little joke there to anyone who's seen my Heinz-Harald Frentzen career mode, which I did on F1 2000. Oh my god, that seems like about 20 years ago now. 20 years ago when I did that. It was probably only about 2, but there you go. Yes, YouTube is like dog years. We do 7 years for every 1 year on YouTube. Yes, definitely. So Johnny Herbert still in the lead. We're 1 minute and 14 seconds behind the leader, and we're in 9th position at the moment. We've got another back marker ahead of us. I'm not quite sure who that is actually. I don't recognise the livery. I really should have done some research, but I bloody well didn't, so shut up. So there we go. Oh wait, is that a Minardi? That could be a Minardi. Yes, I just, something just triggered in my brain synapses that tells me that that could be a Minardi. Anyway, we're going to continue on now. with the last few laps of this Grand Prix as more cars coming to the pits. We're up into 8th place. You know, I think we may actually end up with some points at the end of this. 7th position now. Oh my goodness. Must be more cars coming in. So yes, we're only one more place away from points. So we've got Mika Salo. Oh my goodness, in 5th position. And Aguri Suzuki in 6th place. Who can remember or even forget Aguri Suzuki? There he is. And there's the Ligier in front of us. Oh, is that a Minardi? The blue and... there's a lot of cars in these races. A lot of cars, yeah. 26 cars as compared to only 20 you get nowadays. So I do forget which one's which, to be honest. Anyway, 1 minute and 12 seconds now behind the leader, which is Johnny Herbert, who had a very, very traumatic sort of tenure with his Benetton team. 1994, of course, lots of problems. I think that was that the Imola race where there was a huge start line incident involving Johnny Herbert. I can't quite remember. My brain is addled these days, so yeah, all the information sort of spins from all directions. But I seem to remember, and he did have a lot of problems at Benetton. Did old Johnny Herbert? I do remember that. It was a shame because he was a good driver, but he never really got the car that he deserved. Although he did, of course, with the Benetton. But when you're up against Michael Schumacher, you're not really going to shine very well, are you? And as I say that, I've been waffling on. We're now up into 5th position. Yes, 5th place for us. Or should I say, for David Coulthard in, of course, the glorious Williams liveried car. As we're just about to pass our 40-fold, and we're still holding on to 5th place. So there must be only 3 laps to go now. I think there's only 3 laps to go. Oh my goodness, I just noticed this video is going on for 36 minutes. Wow. Are you all still with me? Or have you all fallen asleep now? Come on. Wakey, wakey. Come on, it's almost medication time. Yes. Well, you know you love medication time. Everyone loves medication time. Goodness gracious me. Anyway, Johnny Herbert after lap 16 is still in the lead. We've only got one more lap to go, of course, if my maths was correct. And there is another back marker. I think that's the Sauber again. But ahead of him we have not a back marker. This is going to be the McLaren, of course, which were quite good in 95, the McLarens. Yes, quite good indeed. Well, at least in this game anyway. I can't remember if they were any good actually in the real F1. So we're going to see if we can get past the McLaren as we're just about to climb the hill and I think start the last lap of the race. I do believe this is going to be the last lap. Hope so anyway, otherwise everyone will be asleep. 40-minute video. Goodness gracious, Dave. Anyway, we go past. Oh, we tried to go past. We didn't quite manage to pull that off. And we're still trying to get past. This has got to be the last lap now. Yes, 16 laps. One more lap to go. This is the last lap. And there was contact there between the Sauber and the McLaren. We're going to try and get past both of them going down this straight if we can. Come on, Dave. Pile it on. Come on, David Coulthard. Come on. Yes. Dive down the inside. Are we going to get the move done? And almost contact with the back of the McLaren. But yes, we get past the Sauber. Still holding on. Look at that difference in time. Absolutely plumb nothing. Well, we're 52 seconds behind Johnny Herbert, so we've got no chance of catching him. But we have got a very, very good chance of catching this McLaren ahead of us. We're in 4th place now. 4th position, everyone. Oh my goodness. This could be a podium. If we manage to get past this McLaren. Oh, come on. This is the final corners now, I do believe. The final corners. Are we going to get past? Come on. Oh, Dave's going to do a sneaky. Oh, no. Contact with the McLaren. And I think that may be game over for the podium. Unless we can get him on the line. I'm not sure. I think he's pulling... Oh, no. Wait a minute. Are we going to do it? Come on, David Coulthard. Come on. Oh, I don't think he's going to do it. Right. Oh. Wow. I did it. He did it. Wow. Right on the line. Podium for David Coulthard. 3rd position. Johnny Herbert won the race. John Lacey in 2nd. Mark Blundell in 4th. So in the championship, we are, of course, in 3rd. When Williams are in 3rd as well. Benetton out in the lead with 10 points. Oh my goodness. Well, I think I'm going to stop there. Because I think most people have fallen asleep by now. So anyway. This has been Formula 1. The original Formula 1 for PlayStation. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. You've all been awesome as always. And thank you to letting me indulge myself by waffling on like a complete buffoon for the last 40 minutes or so. Yes, I do go on, don't I? Anyway, I may continue this into a series with David Coulthard. If you want to see that, then please let me know in the comments. Now, of course, they're not going to be 40-minute long episodes. They will, of course, be edited down, possibly 2 races, and the usual sort of all-season style, I suppose. 9 minutes on each race. If that's what you want to see, then you let me know. Because, of course, I wanted to return to these old games for ages now, because F1 2018 it's doing my noodling, basically. It's doing my noodling. Yes, that ERS. Oh my god, I just can't take it anymore. I just can't take it. You're not driving a car. You're just driving a washing machine. That's all you're doing. A washing machine. Yeah, on spin cycle. That's all it is. Just a washing machine on spin cycle. Anyway, I'm gonna go now before I outlive my usefulness. As I said, thanks so much for watching, everyone. There will, of course, be more later.